Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Allen. This is our week 7 CTE PC Essentials video. I'm still working in testout.com and I'm going to continue where we left off. So I'm going to start with 3.3.5. Choose and install a motherboard. This one takes a little while. This one's probably the hardest thing when you're building a computer, is installing a motherboard and everything that goes with it. So let's give it a shot. Here's our specifications and here's what we need to do. All right, we need to pick a motherboard that has 16x PCI Express slot for the video card, onboard FireWire, 64-bit processors, dual core, yada yada. So we can kind of go in and look at the details of each of these. And looks like this one has PCI 16X. PCIe is the same as PCI Express. Does it have FireWire? You can. My little trick for this sometimes is Control F in your browser, and you can search for whatever word you want. If it doesn't show up in here, that means it's not in there, I don't think. Let's try the next one. Let's go there. Okay, this one does have FireWire. PCI Express, 16 slots. Let's see about the processor, the CPU, chassis, and power fan connector. Oh wait, never mind. CPU socket. So let's read down here. It says 64-bit, yeah, with 2 to 4 cores. So dual means 2. Dual channel memory, which is shows right here, it can do that. And up to 8 gigabytes. Let's see, it says you may install a total of 16. So this one will fit just fine. The AM3, I'm pretty sure that's what I was clicked on. All right, now we got to plug everything into it. The motherboard's basically what controls everything. So power switch, power LED, case speaker, all these things. If you click on the power supply up here, it says partial connections, you can start plugging some of these things in. Power switch, power LED. Actually, this stuff is coming from the case, so we'll do the case stuff first. This is probably the trickiest in real life because it's really small little things. If you click on the motherboard, go to details, go to specs, scroll all the way down, it'll show you system panel connectors. So that's what these are, system panel. So this is like the button on the front of your computer, the lights, you know, fans, stuff like that, that are attached to the case itself. So it'll show you right here's the diagram of basically this. You can, if you look up here, it's number 11. So that's system panel connectors. So let's go back to just click on the case. You can click this, I guess, as well. And we'll start plugging all these in. Power switch, that's right here. So it would be this one. Power LED, that's going to be right there. Case hard disk drive LED. That one's kind of weird. I'm not sure where that one goes yet. Speaker goes here, and the fans go somewhere else. Let me see. Case connector LED. That's got to be this one. I'm gonna at least assume. If I get that wrong, you can figure out what I did wrong. It should be all right. Case fans. We are gonna. If you look on the description up here, sorry, I'll show you. CPU, chassis, and power fan connectors are number 3. So number 3 is there, number 3 there, number 3 there. Those are your fan connectors. Generally, one of them says CPU on it. So the top one says CPU. We'll leave that be, and we'll connect to these two. So front fan, rear fan, and we're good on the case connector stuff. So now click your power supply again. So it should say partial connections. There shouldn't be the tower anymore. We plugged it all in. Now we're doing, close this out. Connect the main power and the CPU power. This one's usually pretty easy to spot because CPU power is like the biggest power thing you have. It's 20 plus 4, which means it's a connector of 20 and then another 4 that are right next to it. They actually come apart, but they click back together too, just in case your setup's a little weird. But it actually goes right here. You can see there's like different shapes. It makes it so you can only plug it in one way. So that's the main connector. Plug in the power, motherboard power. Now the CPU power. Again, you can refer to the documentation on the motherboard if you'd like. Connector power, 8-pin CPU. Let me see. CPU. Normally it goes into this. So usually a 4-pin that goes right into something that looks like that. So let me try that. Power supply. That one's not going to work, but this 4-pin will go there. We're going to have to find where the 8-pin goes. You can always take a look at it and see it's... Oh, wrong one. So we're looking for something like that. I think the 4-pin might be the one we need though, because this doesn't seem to have an 8-pin. Let me check one more time. Number 1 should be the ATX power connector. Yeah, so that's what it's going to be. Hopefully, we'll see if I get it right. Install the front panel connector. So go to drive bays, actually, and then go to front panels, and usually this will go on the front, but we're putting it on the back for some reason. It's going to go in one of these slots. Doesn't really matter which one. Go back to motherboard. Now we got to plug all this good stuff in. Let's see, audio. I believe audio goes right here. If you look at the documentation, it says that's where the digital audio goes. USB. These are some of the USB headers you can use. And let me double check the firewire. So yeah, it's this red slot down here. Okay, I think that's it. I probably missed something, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and press done. Nope, got it. So if you missed anything, it'll tell you what you missed here, and then you can go back and try again if you want. As long as you understand what you got wrong, you don't have to do it 100%. Just do like a pretty good job of, you know. But hopefully you can get it all. And here's an explanation of exactly what I just did. So yeah, that one was a little longer than usual because that's how you plug everything into the motherboard. That's half the work of building a computer. Let's see, where's the next lab? Okay, I'm going to troubleshoot system power. Troubleshooting is a lot of the job. If you're IT, you'll have to figure out what's going on, what's the problem. Okay, so we press the power button, nothing happens. You know, one of the cliches is like, make sure it's plugged in, right? It's not even plugged in. So you go over here to partial connections, and then this is going to have to plug in to the CPU, I mean the computer power. So obvious, you plug that in. You can try turning it on again. Nothing. Okay. A lot of the time, this has to be switched also. So I think of it as 0 and 1. 0 is off, 1 is on. You want it on. See if that works. No. Then my next guess would be this little switch over here. This will change the voltage. It's pretty much used for doing it in the UK or in Europe. They have different voltage that comes out. So we want 115. Just switch that over, and that's probably it. Okay, as long as it turns on, you're good. Press done. It'll tell you about it right there. Let's see, troubleshoot, more power supply problems. Let's see. Sorry if I'm rushing through this. I figured you can at least rewind it or pause it or what have you. I'd rather do that than make a really long video. So let's see. Now they want us to replace this power supply, so we're going to have to take this bad boy out, which means you probably have to disconnect everything. At least it's highlighted in like orange for you. Go to drive bay. See, this needs to be disconnected too. Everything you're disconnecting needs to be reconnected with a new one. Make sure it's all unplugged. Yep, unconnected on everything. Then we can yank it out, maybe. Maybe it has to be in the motherboard view. AC power cable. Oh, it's still plugged into the wall. So unplug this thing. Okay, so what do we need? Power supply must have the appropriate power connectors. Let's see. Customer, okay, power connectors for the CPU, potential expansion cards, fine. The customer has expressed interest in a new graphics card that requires its own power connector. Make sure that the power supply you select will support adding this card. So I know from experience that the video card, the graphics card, is going to be in a PCIe slot generally, and there'll be a 4-pin connector. So 20 plus 4 PCIe. That will be your graphics card. And if none of that makes sense, you can always email me, or I'm sure they explain it in the videos prior to this on Test Out. itself. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this one. Plop it back up there. You should start getting familiar now. The main power supply goes there. The 4-pin power supply goes in the 4-pin slot. We don't have an 8-pin. So I connected the motherboard power, CPU power, connect the power connector for the SATA drives. Okay, so SATA is like what's used for hard drives. You need a SATA cable that does data, which looks like these ones, and then a SATA power cable, which will look like these ones. So if I go to drive bay, this is what the back of it's not just hard drives, it can be a disk drive or whatever. This is what the back of them usually looks like. This one's for power, this one's for data, and you can only do it one way because there's like this little L shape that only allows you to do it one way. So I'm going to plug those in. Now these things have power, which is this drive and then probably a hard drive. Plug the computer into the wall, and I guess we might as well see if it turns on. Failed to turn on, huh? Oh, flip the switch. There we go. And press done. There we go. All right, let's see. This is the last one I'm going to do in this video. 3.5.7. We're going to select and install a processor, also known as a CPU. So we need to select the fastest processor with the largest cache supported by the motherboard. So let's go to the motherboard, click on it, go to details, go to specs, and let's see what kind of CPU this thing likes. CPU. So this comes with the surface mount LGA 66, designed for the Intel i7 processor. So let's see if we have any of those. Intel i7 LGA 1366. So there's two of them, this one or this one. The one with the highest cache is what we wanted, so it's going to have to be this one. And that's all I really need to look at. So CPU goes here. Excuse me. In real life, there's this little metal part like lifts up, and then you put the CPU underneath, and then you close it back down. So what did I say? This one. And in real life, you can only plug it in one way because the pins match up. Be very careful with this because it's very delicate. Connect the correct heat sink for it. So heat sink and fan. The heat sink is like this metal thing that draws the heat from the processor, and the fan pushes it away. So only one of them has the same socket, 1366, which means it'll fit the pattern here for the holes, and it'll be the right size to fit on top of this thing. So we just drag it on top. You'll actually put something called thermal paste in between the two, so it'll transfer the heat even better. But you'll have to come into one of my labs to do that in real life if you want to. And connect the heatsink and fan power to the motherboard. I already know because I was looking that these are the CPU. I mean, these are the fan power connectors, and one of them says CPU. So this one says CPU fan. That's what it is. Plug it in right there, and that should do it. Yep. Okay, so I'll leave it at that for this week. If you want to tell me which ICANNs those correspond to, that'd be great. If you can put that in your journal, and then I can check those off. Otherwise, I'll have to do it myself and figure out which standards you hit. Yeah, and other than that, just keep up on your journals. Like 1 paragraph is plenty. Just let me know what you've been working on. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, let me know. If you need a one-on-one meeting, let me know. You can send me an email and we can do a one-on-one Google Hangout, and I can help you through anything you're working on. Again, obviously, if you're watching this, you've realized that the playlist is going to be here. This is also a button to the playlist of all these videos I'm going to make weekly. I'm going to do all of the labs for you guys, so hang in there and I'll do them all with you. You're just responsible for the exams and all the studying and watching the videos and stuff. So that's it. I will talk to you guys next week.